welcome. And today I'm going to take a look at a question I've asked a couple of times, and I've not answered it for myself either. When is it nostalgia and when is it just genuine love? Because, you look through here, nostalgia, yeah, okay. Is it? Let's start examining things a little closely. I'll start off with Batman, because this is obviously an old style Batman costume. And yeah, this is the Nightfall Batman. I bought this because a couple of reasons. One of the major ones is that I absolutely love comics from the mid-70s, about the time they started changing the comic code, up to 92, 93. I love that era. I think people call it the Bronze Age now. I don't know, because the ages seem to move. But anyway, a lot of great comic stories came out of there. Some of my favorites. Dark Phoenix comes to mind. Long Halloween for Batman. I'm trying to think of a few more here. Kingdom Come. That was a great one, although this has nothing to do with Kingdom Come. Obviously, just great stories all around. And, this Batman was the main Batman during that time. He didn't get into the darker colors until after that time, after the Tim Burton movie. But people mistakenly think this is a lot like Adam West, and he's not, okay? It's really, genuinely, some really great Batman stories. If you've not read them, I invite you to, because they're really, really good. And it's some of my favorite Batman stories. I mean, just the random one-off comics were phenomenal. And so I wanted that. Is that nostalgia? I mean, it's my favorite era of Batman, so, That's a tough one, because it's like, do you just love it? Again, it's always a question mark, because, this, you can make an argument for nostalgia, because I remember this outfit. It didn't last long, but I liked it. I liked it a lot. I thought it was a nice change-up of Daredevil's regular red outfit. But then you got this. Ah, shit. Well, that's just fucking great. Alright, I was just going to start it all over, but then I just said, well, screw it. I was going to roll. So, as I said, this one I got, I really like that outfit. This one, I never liked this storyline. I never had any affection for this version of Daredevil, but I like Daredevil, and it was something different, so I grabbed it. And I like it. I like it a lot. I have no nostalgia for that. Now this one blurs the line even more, because Piper as Nada in They Live, it's one of my favorite movies. I absolutely love They Live. Arguably The Thing and Blade Runner might be favorites above that. So yeah, it's 80s, but it's so damn good. So damn good. And always loved that movie. So when this figure came out, I had to have it. And I have it, and it's like awesome. I love it. You son of a bitch. Okay, so I'm going to have the Savage Crucible guy to the side. There's a point to him being there. Believe me. Okay, so point is, this is one of my favorite movies. I would get it regardless of nostalgia. I mean, We all have favorite movies, and that's one of mine. Now, this one, yeah, I would definitely argue that was nostalgia. It is one of my favorite action figures of all time, Warduke. I still have my original Warduke, love him. So simple, yet so great, the asymmetry, everything. It's a phenomenal figure, the original. This is a phenomenal figure too. I definitely would say nostalgia though. I would not have wanted this if I didn't have such love for that figure. But then again, is it nostalgia or love? Because I love that figure. And they did a new one, and it's like, ooh. And they did so many improvements and so many cool things that you couldn't do back those days. Of course, upping the scale helps too. A lot more detail. I mean, that's a tough one. Because, you know, yeah, you have a nostalgic tie to this figure, but this is an improvement on that. And, yeah, it skirts the line. Now, most everyone I know who is buying G.I. Joe Classified are in it for nostalgia. I mean, they literally will say, I want the figures I didn't get when I was growing up. And, okay, fine. But, you know, I don't have quite the nostalgia for this because over the years I've managed to at least have owned almost all the figures I ever wanted. Some of them I got and I was like, oh, this ain't quite so cool. I'm just gonna sell it off. And you know, both in the anniversary lines and in the vintage lines. So not so much nostalgia for me on this one. Kind of the same way with Star Wars Black Series. I mean, I did buy some OT representation for the Black Series, but you know, I didn't go all in, but similar to this, I've only picked up my favorite characters. You know, yeah, they did a new character, which was like, bleh. You know, there was no character there. There was nothing to see. Whoopee. Now, you know, again, there's... Oh, thanks, Warduke. That's at least in character. You know, trying to take out everybody. Alright, I'm not going to get upset at that one because I almost missed a point there. And what I was going to say is, you know, alright, this was... A lot of people are in this for nostalgia. I'm here for nostalgia. Why? This is that same excitement I used to have when I was collecting G.I. Joe. I would get the new box, you know, get the new wave and look over the characters, look over the new vehicles and the pamphlets, look over all the new stuff. And I'd get excited going, oh, that looks cool, that looks cool, that looks cool. That's what I do here with Action Force. I don't do that with Classified because I've seen it already. I have it already. I have this figure in Anniversary Edition and in his original Vintage Edition and several repaint sets of each. Not the same thing. This is a good feeling though. It's fun to see what happens next in the Valorverse world. That's where I was getting at with having Trigger there. So yeah, now you know, and no one's half the battle, right? Okay, so now I can bring this in. Wrestling. I live in an area. Wrestling was a big deal. And this, by far, the Monday Night War, WCW, was some of my favorite stuff. Ever. But at the same time, there is some modern I like. So, is that necessarily nostalgia? I am not into wrestling like I used to be. I think it has gotten boring, and there's some problems I have with it that I will get to at some point. But, you know, there's still some stars I like AJ, Cody Rhodes, etc. But for the most part, I don't think it seems more like the freaking NFL than it is you know, the fun that it was back in the day. And while this, I love this duster, by the way. While this right here is where I think things started to go downhill. When Warrior came over to WCW. Not that first promo. That was amazing. As long as it was. I know it's a 20-minute promo and it went over, but after that, though, that whole feud went downhill and that match sucked. But again, love that promo. Wanted to get that appearance of Warrior because that was just a cool moment in time. And I liked it. Moving on to Jada, Street Fighter. Jada's hitting a lot of marks on the nostalgia. I am not one who loves Street Fighter, but I did get a couple of these. Primarily some of my fave characters. Again, Chun-Li was the one I always played. Bison was, of course, the main bad guy. I'm not getting Guile or Cammy or any of those. I might get Cammy. I'm still deciding on Cammy. But the point being is that, yeah, I mean, and these are good figures. I mean, you know, I've never collected a whole lot of Street Fighters, so this is kind of familiar but new. So that's what I'm getting at with that one. So now we are on to Savage Crucible, to which I will hold him because those damn feet. Ooh, okay. Let me get him in camera. Okay. I love this figure. This is my favorite figure from Savage Crucible thus far. I think it's just the black with the white stripes. I think it's just cool. Now, you know, again, this is new. So, oh yeah, it can't be nostalgia. No, I've always wanted Lizardman action figures. For the longest time. For Warduke, actually, to fight Warduke. And my Paladin and stuff. I mean, Lizardmen have been all over the place, both D&D, cartoons, everything. And to finally get some decent-looking Lizardmen, I'm really happy. That could argue to be a nostalgic feeling. That's all I'm saying. See, this doesn't get as cut and dry as you think. Because, you know, you're like, well, it's brand new shit. Yeah? But is it new? Or is it just tapping on those old feelings? It's tricky. But I would argue Savage Crucible's Lizardmen were a nostalgia grab. And I'm good with that. I don't care. I mean, if they're going to produce something I've always wanted, I'll buy it. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing inherently wrong with that. But, again, my question always becomes, when is it nostalgia? When is it genuine love? I genuinely love that era's WCW. I watch wrestling bios, reliving the war. And it's so cool to rewatch that and you get a new appreciation for some of the things you forgot about. Disco Inferno, too cool. Those guys were actually really were really decent, and yeah, you know. You have this Operation Monster Force, new IP, but it's got a lot of old in it. Dracula, zombies, vampires. So is it really that new, or is it a new spin on an old idea? I really get Blade vibes off this guy, by the way. I mean, to me, that's where I get that from. But, you know, I mean, I always struggle with that. Which is it? My wife says I'm the most nostalgic, not nostalgia guy, as she knows. And when you look at comic books, read comics today, I've tried with modern comics. They're awful. They're just awful. For various reasons. Most of them is that most people don't know how to tell a story anymore. You know, they're also too expensive. It's ludicrous. There's no reason for them to be priced that high. But I still like my classics. Those are great. If I go into a comic shop, first place I go is the dollar bin. That usually contains some of my favorite stuff. I never will forget going into a comic shop, finding a near complete run of Shogun Warriors. That was great. Again, is that nostalgic, or is that I just dig that story? I dig that comic book. But then the nostalgic police are always trying to cash in on it. We got the Micronauts coming from Super 7. Definite nostalgia grab. Am I going to fall for it? Maybe. I think I might grab Baron Karza. Just because, you know, Baron Karza wasn't gigantic in the comic. I dropped a stand here. And so that, you know, it's always a tough one, because are you giving in to your nostalgia, or do you genuinely love this shit? I love Star Wars. I can tell you that much. Those first 3 movies are some of my most favorite movies. Do I buy the shit I buy for nostalgia? No. I can say that unequivocally. But also, I don't buy that new shit. Those cartoon collection right there, that's nostalgia. I give that. I love that cartoon. I like the looks. That's nostalgia, man. I'll give that. It was a nostalgia bait that did get me, and you can get me a couple of times. You know, but is buying a classic look superhero nostalgia, or is it that you just like that because that's what that's what it is to you? And that's when the mystery starts to get a little deep. It's like Wolverine in his tiger stripe or his brown suit. He had several other suits besides that, but those 2 are the ones people remember. Is that nostalgia? Or is that, no man, that's his suit. Spider-Man in the red and blues. Again, that's his suit. You know, it doesn't work. You can change it up once in a while, but it doesn't work for very long. Nah, does that sound like an old man? You can't change it. Well, I mean, when you have it for 30, 40, 50 years in that look, yeah, changing it's going to be abrupt. I don't like the fact they changed Superman so much. I don't like the fact they changed Batman so much. So yeah, where is the line of genuine love and nostalgia? It's a tough question. When you start, you know, at first it's like, oh yeah. Then you start looking at it and it's like, well, man, yeah, okay. That might be a little different than what I thought it was. So, maybe I need to rethink this. And maybe that's what we all need to do. It doesn't hurt to do a reevaluation periodically of what you're doing and why. Kind of this is what this is for me. But that's a bit of rambling, but at the same time, I think there was a point to it. What's your say? Nostalgia or genuine love? What's the difference? Where's the line? How do you know? Thanks for watching. Don't forget to do all the YouTube stuffs. Take care.